Assalamu alaikum. This is Moeed Pirzada in Washington, United States. In my hand is a very interesting book, Dangerous Deterrent: Nuclear Weapons Proliferation and Conflict in South Asia by S. Paul Kapur. S. Paul Kapur has been confirmed as Assistant Secretary of State for South Asia and Central Asia by the United States Senate on 7th October 2025, and since then S. Paul Kapur has assumed his charge on 22nd October 2025, replacing the position where once the infamous Donald Lu used to be. Now, S. Kapur is an academic, as you can understand, among his many other assignments of teaching with think tanks and so on. He was also once a visiting professor at America's prestigious Stanford University. When a businessman is nominated and confirmed by the United States Senate, he is checked, verified, approved against his business credentials, his business credibility, the transactions he has done, and his career profile as a businessman. When an academic is nominated and confirmed, he is checked, ascertained, and approved against the thrust of his ideas. And the thrust of the ideas of S. Paul Kapur is very clear. This book was published in 2007, but in 2012, another book, India and Pakistan and the Bomb, was published. And in 2016, another book was published, that was last known book, that was Jihad and the Grand Strategy, and published in 2016. So, of course, the thrust of the ideas of S. Paul Kapur is very clear, and I am afraid that his nomination initially by the administration, by Trump administration, and finally his confirmation on 7th October 2025 might have caused some kind of discomfort and anxiety, not only in Pakistan's embassy in Washington, but also in Pakistan Foreign Office, in Pakistan General Headquarters in Rawalpindi, and Pakistan's famous headquarters of the intelligence in Apara. So many would actually believe that the special relationship of affection and admiration which Pakistan's current Army Chief Field Marshal General Asim Munir has struck with President Donald Trump might actually be a sort of a protective layer, and it might actually be a substitute. But that remains to be seen if that special relationship in which President Donald Trump continues to refer to General Asim Munir as my favorite field marshal will be a substitute for the policy thrust from Washington and State Department. We'll find out more about it in the next several weeks to months. Had it been before, if we had the idea, if we had known the importance of S. Paul Kapoor before November 2024, we might had the opportunity to interview him as an academic about his books, but now he is a member of the president's cabinet, so this is not a possibility. However, in the next several weeks to months, I'll try to interview and talk to and listen some of the other academics and policy people who have worked with S. Paul Kapoor, and they are more familiar with his ideas. Now, 5 months ago, or perhaps even more than 5 months ago, I recorded a video while sitting outside a bookstore, Barnes& and Noble in Washington, D.C., in which I tried explaining the reason, the rationale behind creation of this YouTube channel, Iconoclast with Moeed Pirzada. And I explained that while I continue to focus on the day-to-day Pakistani politics, the topical developments, itchy-bitchy of the Pakistani politics in my Urdu vlogs, I have created this channel with a totally different goal in mind. This is not to focus on Pakistan, but to focus on the bigger picture, on the situation around Pakistan, to focus on the issues and developments in Middle East, in Central Asia, in South Asia, the interaction between the Muslim world and the West, and how all this bigger picture, the bigger world around Pakistan will ultimately shape the developments inside Pakistan. And I also explained that while English as a lingua franca gives us the opportunity to connect to the American expertise, to the British expertise, to the European, we can listen to the European experts, but it also provides us the opportunity to listen to Muslim scholars, Muslim expertise, which is not available to us. I mean, if we have to talk to Turks and to talk to the Middle Eastern people and the Arab scholars, we cannot talk to them in Urdu or Hindi. So that is why this lingua franca and this platform is important. Now, since then, what we have done, even before recording that message in which I asked and requested all of you to join this channel, this journey along with me, I had already recorded a very interesting and long discussion, more than 1 hour long discussion, with Professor Ahmed T. Kuru, an American scholar of Turkish origin who teaches in California in the San Diego University. That was actually about the rise and fall of the Muslim mind, basically about the rise and fall of the Muslim thought, as to how the Muslim thought was once the most important thought, the most forward-looking thought in the world, and how it started to collapse.
For 300 years, Ottomans did not get printing technology. And they say, let's not to discuss Muslim problem, just focus on white man supremacy. Say, look, the West is collapsing. It's not time to discuss Muslim problems.
And after this interview with, I would just want to remind you, and after the discussion with Ahmed T. Kuru, which unfortunately has only been watched by about 40,000 people, I ended up recording, organizing and recording a seminar with the visiting Indian BJP ideologue, once a BJP ideologue, now perhaps with Congress, Sudhandra Kulkarni. I invited Professor Hussain Nadeem from George Washington University for the seminar, which was organized in Washington, D.C. in a library, and about 30 to 40 people also attended as audience. And I brought that, I shared that discussion in an edited version over this television channel, this YouTube. And initially it was referred to as India and Pakistan, idiots with nuclear weapons. Subsequently, on a note of protest by Sudhandra Kulkarni, who was very upset by the title was changed to India and Pakistan, angry cousins with nuclear weapons.
Even with the BJP, and this is a point that I would like to really urge all of you, there was a very large section of the BJP which believed in peace with Pakistan. And which also wanted,
like Atal Bihari Vajpayee. After this, I got the opportunity to bring Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad on this YouTube channel. And Ambassador Zalmay Khalilzad explained his journey. We discussed his book. He explained his journey from very humble backgrounds in Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, which was very poor and almost primitive, to the power corridors in Washington, D.C., that how he had been member of the of more than one administration, how he became United States ambassador to United Nations, United States ambassador to Afghanistan, to Iraq, and finally, as United States key person for the Doha process, which saw the eventual withdrawal of the U.S. forces from Afghanistan.
When you say that you fear for Pakistan, what are your fears?
It's a challenge for the world if Pakistan, God forbid, failed.
After this, I was able to bring Professor Christine Fair for the second time on this channel with a question that what went wrong with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and American President Donald Trump. Discussion with Professor Christine Fair was focused on the dynamics between United States and India. It was naturally watched more in United States and India than in Pakistan. And not only it was watched very extensively, her infamous reference as this chutia became a headline of many publications across the world.
6 months, and we've got 4 years of this chutia. And I know I can't live in this country after 4 years.
But the content of this channel kept on changing. Afterwards, I was able to invite Mustafa Akyol, another Turkish scholar who works with Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., to discuss his book, Reopening Muslim Minds. And the interview got very mixed reviews, also because he was very cautious in making his judgments or comments about Imran Khan, because some Pakistani friends had probably warned Mustafa Akyol that he should stay away from the intricacies of the Pakistani politics.
Sunni scholar in Pakistan or elsewhere, Hanafi or maybe other, can a Muslim woman travel alone for a distance of 3 days?
What do you think about Imran Khan's leadership across the Muslim world, and what do you think about the future of democracy in Pakistan?
Therefore, it's definitely unfortunate. It's sad for our country to have someone like that, a leader like that, in jail. My own father, spent many months in jail.
The content kept on changing. Next, I was able to invite Professor Steve Hanke of Johns Hopkins University, who is a known macroeconomist and is considered one of the most influential economists on social media, for the reason that most economists would be followed by less than 100,000 people on social media. But Professor Steve Hanke is followed by almost 1 million people on Twitter alone. And he's very interested in the subject of Pakistan. He described his interaction with Imran Khan, that how he and Imran Khan had a meaningful discussion on the economic challenges facing Pakistan.
Advised Narendra Modi to come down and let the agriculturists suffer.
This is just hypocrisy on steroids. He couldn't stand to even be in the same room with Madam Gandhi.
What is Modi's bigger problem?
Modi's kind of in a corner. By the way, that 2% happens to be very powerful in the United States. India has done much better from an economic point of view than Pakistan.
As predicted and committed by me in May 2025, that this channel will continue to change, evolve, will keep on offering you different subjects, topics, and themes, I was soon able to invite a totally unfamiliar Eric Sperling, the founding editor of the Just Foreign Policy. Few of you are aware that what an important role Eric Sperling has played behind the scene in helping the Pakistani community and several Pakistani groups that have been maintaining a liaison and activities with the congressional teams. But anyway, the case at the time was the change in Nepal, the turbulence in Nepal on the streets, when a government which was seen to be pro-China was being thrown out by the Generation Z and by the students. I invited both Eric Sperling and Professor Hossein Nadeem, who were intently focused on that change. And within this discussion, I'm very happy to point out that we were among the first people in the world, when people were hesitant and say it, we were able to discuss that these kind of developments are not organic or synthetic, but they are manufactured, they are created, people are brought out. And that is why this kind of change you don't see in Pakistan, because the outside powers are not necessarily supporting a change in Pakistan. And we were able to assess that it looks as if the pro-China government or the China's influence from Nepal has been kicked out in the same way India was kicked out of Bangladesh. Now the question is, who kicked out India from Bangladesh and who could have possibly kicked out China from Nepal? That I leave to your imagination. But my commitment and my prediction and my commitment was that the content of this channel will keep on evolving, will keep on changing. Soon afterwards, when there was a pact between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, a mutual defense cooperation and so on, I was able to invite your favorite General retired Tariq Khan to analyze the situation. And General Tariq Khan was in a way an exception, because almost everybody else who appeared on this channel in this time period was not based in Pakistan. So General Tariq Khan was the first person in all this time period, the first and the last person who was actually based in Pakistan. And I invited him because he, being part of the Pakistani military at very senior levels and of Pakistani establishment, could give us an inner view as to how the Pakistani-Saudi pact can be seen by someone who is not part of the government anymore.
Nuclear umbrella for Saudi Arabia. What do you understand by that?
Pakistan is a signatory of the nuclear agreements, international agreements, and there is no way that Pakistan can extend its nuclear capacity to other countries, the whole world, to try and dismantle its nuclear capability.
And finally, in the last few days, I was able to invite Ambassador Umar Samad to this platform. Umar Samad not only served as ambassador of Afghanistan to Canada and France, also worked at various levels with the Afghan government, but he also comes from a family of Afghan diplomats with very deep and fine-tuned understanding of the history and dynamics of South Asia and Central Asian affairs between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And this discussion took place at a time of huge tensions between Kabul and Islamabad, when Istanbul process after the Doha process was taking to create a ceasefire, to prolong, to continue a ceasefire and peace process between Pakistan and Afghanistan, which fortunately is still holding. Now, the bottom line of reminding you of all this is that I made a prediction and a commitment that I will bring very well changing different kind of content on this YouTube channel, and I wanted you to join this. The good thing is, now the good thing and the bad thing. The good thing is this, that during this time period, the last 5 months, almost close to 1 million people, million views were generated by this channel. Some 800,000 plus, between 800,000 to 900,000. But the bad thing is only about 9 to 10,000 subscribers and people have joined this channel. Now, this conjuicy is the point which I want to basically address, that I had requested you to join this channel, whereas there has been a lot of appreciation. If you look at the comments, very few people have joined this channel. What does it really mean? I mean, Pakistanis have no interest in the English content. They're afraid of the English content. More people from India have joined this channel in the same time period, but less from Pakistan, less from the Pakistani community. So I would remind you once again, I would request you once again to join this channel. This really helps. This encourages the people who come over here. They want to see how many people are watching them, how they have been viewed, how they have been assessed, what is the kind of comment and feedback on that. And I once again want to make it clear that the focus of this particular channel, the Iconoclast with Moeed Pirzada, is not the internal politics and the topical developments of Pakistan. The focus over here is the world around Pakistan, the world of South Asia, the world of Central Asia, the Middle East, the Muslim world, and the interaction that is taking place between the Muslim world and the West. So for this kind of bigger picture, I would request you and remind you to join this channel, encourage me and encourage the people I invite, and your joining this channel will actually help me to bring more and more interesting people to this platform. A few words about the word think tanks. I hear a lot of Pakistanis are very impressed by think tanks. I mean, this is a common buzzword. There should be a think tank. We should make a think tank. There should be think tanks in Pakistan like the American think tanks. The sad reality of the Washington think tanks is that they have very limited or superficial understanding of the Pakistani dynamics. And gone are the days when there were scholars like Steve Cohen, Robert Wirsing, and many others who had understood Pakistan by living in Pakistan in 70s and 80s till even 90s, mostly in 60s, 70s, and 80s. The US scholars under the Fulbright program or the other programs had affiliations with Qaid-e-Azam University, with Peshawar, Qaid-e-Azam University in Islamabad, with Peshawar University in Peshawar, with Punjab University, with Karachi University, and they lived there for 9 months to a year, sometimes even more. They learned the local languages, and during that experience of living and getting to understand Pakistan, these scholars also developed intimate personal relationship with Pakistani families in Peshawar, in Islamabad, in Lahore, in Karachi. They lived with them, they spent the weekends with them, and they got to understand Pakistan in a totally different way. They knew the Pakistani people, the Pakistani culture, the Pakistani cuisine, everything about Pakistan, the fabric, the dress, and they had very fond memories of their interaction with the Pakistanis. But now all this has been, the age of the scholarship in Pakistan has been replaced by a new generation of think tankers who are invited every year 3 to 4 times by the Pakistani government, paid trips, business class, usually by Emirates and all that, and being received in a very generous and warm way by black limousines at the Islamabad airport, taken to live in a lavish room in Serena or Marriott, given a chauffeured car for 24 hours. They stay in Islamabad for 3 days or 2 days. They meet important people at National Defense University or within the Pakistani government, or some people within the lobbies of Serena Hotel and Marriott. But that's it. They don't really have any intimate understanding. Gone are the days when the American scholars would know the Urdu language or Hindi, or would know the culture, or were interested in knowing the culture. However, while these think tankers are very superficial, there is a galaxy of very capable South Asian scholars in top American universities who have a very good understanding of the nature and direction of political process and political change in South Asia. And I will try to invite more and more of them on this platform. And I will do many more interesting things. Also, I want to bring a greater focus on the dynamics of American political change. And perhaps in the next video, in the next 1 or 2 days, I will be able to introduce a very charismatic Pakistani origin American politician standing for the Congress. I will introduce her to you, and this process will continue on this channel. So I will once again remind you and request you to join this channel, Iconoclast with Moeed Pirzada. Thank you.